Haman had to take the apparel and the horse, and do for Mardochai what he had hoped would be done for him. He arrayed Mardochai and caused him to ride through the street of the city, and proclaimed before him, "Thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delighteth to honor." And Mardochai came again to the king's gate, but Haman hasted to his house, mourning and having his head covered. And Haman recounted to Zeresh his woman, and to all his friends everything that had befallen him. Then said his wise men and Zeresh his woman to him, "If Mardochai, before whom thou hast begun to fall, be of the seed of the Yehudim, thou shalt not prevail against him, but shalt surely fall before him." While they were yet talking with him, came the king's chamberlains, and hasted to bring Haman to the banquet that Esther had prepared. Esther chapter 7. So the king and Haman came to banquet with Esther the queen. And the king said again to Esther on the second day of the banquet of wine, "What is thy petition, Queen Esther? And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? Even to the half of the kingdom it shall be performed." Then Esther the queen answered and said, "If I have found favor in thy sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my soul be given me as my petition, and my people at my request. For we are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish. But if we had been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I would adopt silence, although the adversary could not have compensated for the king's damage." Then spoke the king Ahasuerus, and said to Esther the queen, "Who is he, and where is he, the heart of whom hath filled him to effectuate thus?" And Esther said, "An adversary and an enemy, even this wicked Haman." Then Haman was afraid before the king and the queen. And the king arose in his wrath from the banquet of wine, and went into the palace garden. And Haman stood up to make request for his soul to Esther the queen, for he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king. Then the king returned out of the palace garden into the place of the banquet of wine, and Haman was fallen upon the couch whereon Esther was. Then said the king, "Will he even force the queen before me in the house?" As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face. Then said Harbonah, one of the chamberlains that were before the king, "Behold also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman hath made for Mardochai, who spoke good for the king, standeth in the house of Haman." And the king said, "Hang him thereon." So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mardochai. Then was the king's wrath pacified.